Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into something pretty fundamental, dealing with failure and setbacks.
hmm
It happens, right? Personal life, school, work, relationships. Those times, things just don't quite go as planned. Pretty universal, I think.
Absolutely.
Eh,
And, it's really key how we frame these moments. Like, instead of seeing failure as the total opposite of success,
Yeah.
imagine it more like an unexpected detour on the way to success.
hmm
It's often just part of getting there.
Okay, a detour. I like that. So, the mission for this deep dive really is to get a handle on navigating those times. For you listening, we want to explore how you can, bounce back
hmm
and maybe even find the growth opportunities hidden in there.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective is just so crucial because, well, that first reaction to a setback,
Yeah.
it can feel intensely personal.
Right. Like I failed.
Yeah, like, that means something's wrong with us. Instead of just seeing it as, okay, the outcome wasn't what I expected, there's
Right.
this big societal things, and they're pushing us to see failure super negatively. And learning to kind of push back against that view, that's fundamental if you want to move forward constructively.
Okay, let's dig into that. So you face a failure. That first hit, maybe it's, I don't know, embarrassment or just pure frustration.
hmm Or feeling totally hopeless, stuck.
Yeah, that too. And it seems important to actually feel those things first, not just ignore them.
That's step one, definitely.
Mm.
Allowing yourself to feel it is, well, it's healthy. The tricky part is not getting stuck in those feelings.
Right.
We need to process them and then consciously move into what I sometimes call a learning review. That's where the good stuff starts to happen.
A learning review. Okay, so instead of just stewing in the frustration,
Yeah.
you actively ask some questions like, oh, okay, what actually went wrong here, specifically,
And maybe, what could I have done differently?
if anything? And the big one, what's the takeaway? What can I learn from this for next time?
Precisely. And while you're doing that review, this is key. Self-compassion.
Ah, yes. Being kind to yourself.
It's so important because that inner critic,
Yeah.
it just loves to jump in and, tear you down.
Oh, yeah. Mine's loud sometimes.
We all have one.
Yeah.
But think about it. If a friend messed up, would you talk to them the way you talk to yourself?
Probably not. I try to be supportive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So offer yourself that same kindness, that understanding. Being overly critical just shuts down the learning process. It doesn't help at all.
That makes a ton of sense, the way we talk to ourselves in those moments. It really matters, doesn't
It shapes the whole experience.
it? Mhm.
Imagine consciously choosing, okay, I'm going to talk to myself with encouragement here, like
Yeah.
I would a friend. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. And that connects to reframing you mentioned.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about changing the narrative you tell yourself about what happened.
Okay.
So instead of just, I failed, full stop, you shift it. Maybe it becomes, okay, I tried something, it didn't work out this time, but I learned X, Y, and Z, and I'm growing because of it.
So changing the story, it's not a dead end, it's a redirection, a plot twist.
Yeah, a redirection. I like that. Moves the focus off this idea of finality.
I actually had something like that happen. I was really gunning for this one particular client, put in so much work,
Yeah. Yeah,
and they went with someone else, felt awful at the time, like a huge failure.
sure.
But then a few months down the line, this other opportunity came up, a different client, but honestly, a much better fit for where I wanted to take things long term.
See, that initial failure actually pointed you in a better
It
direction.
really did in hindsight. So reframing is powerful.
It is. And another really practical thing, especially when you're feeling low after a setback, don't go it alone.
Ah, seeking support.
Yes. Talk to people, friends, mentors, family, whoever you trust. Just getting it out can lighten the load.
Totally.
Plus, you get fresh perspectives, maybe new ideas you hadn't even considered.
It's true. Just saying it out loud sometimes makes it feel smaller,
Yeah.
less overwhelming.
And often, people have been through similar things, right? They might have some wisdom to share or just listen. It reminds you you're not the only one.
It's a shared human thing for sure.
And another point, even when things feel totally out of your control, which failure can sometimes make you feel.
Yeah, that feeling of powerlessness.
Right. Try to find the bits you can still influence. Maybe it's just your attitude going forward, or the effort you put into the next thing, or just deciding on one small next step.
Okay, focus on what you can control.
Exactly. Taking even tiny actions can start to build momentum again. It helps you feel less stuck.
That's empowering. Okay, so we've talked about dealing with it in the moment. What about building up that inner strength for the future?
Resilience,
Right.
right. How do we cultivate that?
Resilience. It's helpful to think of it less as something you either have or don't have,
Hmm.
and more like a skill set, or maybe a muscle, something you strengthen with practice.
Okay, like going to the gym for your mind.
Kinda.
Hmm.
And one way to train that muscle is by setting small, achievable goals.
Oh, okay.
Each little win, even if it feels minor, reinforces that feeling of, I can do this. It builds confidence bit by bit for when bigger challenges come along. So, stacking up small successes builds that self-belief. Makes sense. What about purpose? Does having a sense of purpose help?
Hugely. Knowing your why, like what
Mm.
really drives you, what your core values are, that's like an anchor in stormy weather.
Right.
When you hit a setback, if you're clear on why you're doing what you're doing, it gives you that deeper motivation to keep going.
So it helps you see the obstacle as temporary, not a reason to just quit.
Exactly. It frames the setback within a bigger picture.
And we probably shouldn't forget the basics either, like physical and mental health.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. Getting enough sleep, moving your body, maybe some mindfulness or quiet time. It's not fluff.
Yeah.
It genuinely builds your capacity to handle stress and bounce back.
Hmm.
Trying to navigate a failure when you're exhausted or totally stressed out, it's like trying to run a marathon with the flu. Much harder.
Good analogy. And, I think we get so hung up on the final result. Did I win? Did I succeed?
Mm,
Maybe we need to value the effort more, just showing up and trying.
yes. Celebrating the effort, not just the outcome. That is so important for resilience
How so?
because it acknowledges the value in the process. You showed up, you put the work in, you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
That has worth, regardless of whether you hit the specific target this time. It reinforces that growth mindset we talked about.
Right. Focusing on development, not just the finish line. And it's so easy, isn't it, to look at other people and think, wow, they make it look so easy while we're struggling.
Oh, the comparison trap.
Yeah.
It's deadly.
Yeah.
Because everyone's journey is totally different. Different starting points, different challenges, different timelines. That effortless success you see, it might be built on years of hard work and failures you never saw.
Good point. Focus on your own path.
Exactly. Run your own race.
Okay, let's make this super concrete. A lot of people listening might be, say, learning English. That's a journey full of potential setbacks,
Right.
right? Making mistakes.
Perfect example. Feeling discouraged when you can't find the right word, or your grammar's a bit off, or you stumble over pronunciation.
Yeah, happens all the time. Feels like failing sometimes.
But here's the reframe. In language learning, mistakes aren't failures. They're absolutely necessary. Essential, even.
Really? Necessary.
Yes, making mistakes means you're pushing yourself. You're trying things out, stretching beyond what's comfortable. That's how you learn. It's actually a sign of progress.
Wow, okay. So every time I mess up a verb tense, I should maybe think, okay, evidence of learning in progress.
Exactly. Or evidence I'm being brave and trying. It's something to be kind of proud of, in a way.
I like that perspective shift
Yeah.
because the fear of making those mistakes can really hold you back, can it?
Totally. It can stop people from speaking at all.
Mm-hmm.
But fluency doesn't come from being perfect right away. It comes from practice.
Just doing it.
Just doing it. Communicating, trying, even when it feels messy or imperfect, that's the path.
Embrace the messiness. Got it. Now, looking at people who've achieved big things, often there are stories of major failures along the way. Can you share an example or two?
Sure. Think about J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter author.
Right. Huge success.
Massive. But before that, rejection after rejection from publishers.
Yeah.
She was a single mom, struggling financially, facing setback after setback. Her resilience was incredible.
Wow. Easy to forget that part of the story. That initial rejection wasn't the end.
Not at all. And another one, Michael Jordan.
The basketball legend?
Yeah, widely seen as maybe the greatest ever. But famously, he got cut from his high school basketball team.
No way. Really?
Yep. Hard to imagine now, isn't it? But he didn't let that define him. He used it
As fuel.
as fuel, poured that disappointment into practice, into getting better, relentlessly.
That's incredible. So even someone at that level faced a pretty big knockback early on.
It really drives home the point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Failure isn't final. It's often part of the journey. Your response is what counts. Keep going.
Persevere.
That's the key. So maybe to kind of pull these threads together for everyone listening.
Yeah, the key takeaways.
When failure happens,
Mhm.
and it will let yourself feel it, but then consciously step back.
Yeah.
Do that kind, constructive review.
Mhm.
Work on reframing how you see it. Lean on your support network. Focus on what you can control, even if it's small,
And take action.
and take action. some kind of step forward. Remember, growth is, well, it's a process. Ups and downs are normal.
And it's so vital to remember you're not weird or alone when you stumble. Everyone does.
Absolutely everyone. It's just part of being human. What really sets people apart is that ability to learn from it, adapt, and, get back up.
Your resilience defines you more than the setback itself.
Beautifully put. Your failures don't define you. Your resilience does. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about a recent setback, maybe a small one.
Okay.
Based on what we've talked about, how could you maybe reframe that situation? See it in a slightly different light. And what's just one small concrete step you could take, maybe even today, to start moving forward from it?